Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rechak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. They were just going to straight jump in. We're going to jump straight into it. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 2, verse 42. And it reads, I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praise the Lord with songs. That's the elect. Verse 43. And in the midst of them there was a young man of high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So the young man is talking about Yahushai. Goes talk, and it says he's more exalted than all the rest. Why? Because he's Yahushai, First and foremost is Yahushai's kingdom first. We are just joint heirs, So when Ezra saw this, he saw how majestic it was. He was in awe. Verse 44, so I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of God, and now are they crowned and receive palms. So the elect, the ones Yahushua put crowns on the elect, and they are the ones who put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal. They have confessed the name of the Lord. They did the work of the Lord. They did their best to please the Lord, and for that, they receive immortality and were crowned by Yahushua, the second most powerful being, I got a quick precept. 10, I think. This is Hebrews chapter 6 and 10, and it reads, For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed toward his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. All right, so the Lord is not unrighteous to forget all that you've done for him, Confessing the name of the Lord, doing his work, trying to please the Lord to the best of your ability, in this wicked ass society is not a light thing. And yet they still tried, they still did it, The Lord won't forget that. Got another precept. This is Galatians 6 and 9, and it reads, And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. For in due season we shall reap, We won't. It's like delayed gratification. Yeah, that's the term. Delayed gratification. We struggle now to get that good reward later. In due season, it doesn't say we will never get the reward. In due season, we shall reap if we faint not, if we don't give up, You got to keep fighting. You got to be hard on yourself. Examine yourself daily. You want to give the Lord your best and then some. You want to go 144% for that crown. You want that crown, right? Nothing should be, at this very moment, the thought of receiving the crowns, no, nothing. We should want nothing more than that. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. Like, nothing. We shouldn't want anything of this world, You want that salvation bad, right? then you gotta do what you gotta do, you know? You should want that crown more than you wanna eat, more than you wanna live, more than you wanna breathe. You do everything you can to get that crown. You have the guts to make everything else you wanted, right? You have the guts to get everything else you wanted, right? You want this crown? You do what you gotta do. You show the Lord you want it. Don't just have hard things, you know? Just don't do things half heartedly. There we go. Salakia. You carry and live that mindset, you know? Where was I? For just a second, I just 2:46, and it reads, Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? And that Yahushua. So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of God, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. See, no matter what, you stand firm for the Lord. You know, the Most High and His work is priority. You know, who is to be feared more than the Most High? No one. Who is to be praised more than the Most High? Yo, nobody. You know? The Most High is priority. Life is vain without the Lord. I'm telling you. You know this. So I should have said the reason why I wanted to go into this before I started it, but I was just watching an anime, and it's like this. The anime's name is Hell's Paradise, and the main character Gabimaru, which I can um equate. I think if that's a word, I can see him looking at the anime from a spiritual eye. He's the elect, and then he has a wife, and I see the wife represents the crown of salvation, So Gabimaru was made a criminal and got sent to an island. Now he's trying to do everything he can to get back to his wife, you know. When he was fighting, there was, anime, but when he was fighting, there was a couple of things that he said. He said, even if my eyes are gorged out, I'll make it back to my wife. Even if my limbs are torn apart, I'll make it back to my wife. Even if I die, I'll make it back to my wife alive. If I gotta give up my humanity, and he does, I'll make it back to my wife alive. It's all but a small cost just to see the smile on my wife's face. And I was like, damn. Yo, you have this fictional character trying harder than us? Nah, that can't be. Nah, no. Never let out a fictional character outwork you. Never. So he's making all these sacrifices. Oh my days. I hope it's still recording. Please tell me it's still recording. How do I even see? Yes, it's still recording. Nice. Right, so he's making all these sacrifices, even his humanity, just to make it back to his wife alive. Yo, that's us, man. We gotta make sacrifices. We gotta give things up just so we can get that crown. Just so we can show the Lord how bad we want it. And in due season, you do all these things, and in due season, you will weep. You will reap what you sow. So yeah, that's about it. Lord willing, I was edifying to the elect. Until next time, shalom.